News Talk 820 WBAP.
7:48 right now. Chris Copeland's kind enough to carve out some time for us this morning. He's a cybersecurity expert. He's worked with all kinds of groups over the last 20-plus years. We thought we'd reach out to him because there's several stories out there, Chris, that have grabbed our attention. Two of them involve Hillary Clinton and her emails. So we obviously know about the FBI investigation, but then we hear this threat from the Russians, from Vladimir Putin, that he's got 20,000 of her emails that he might be willing to dump here soon. And Julian Assange saying he's got his hands on Hillary's emails. How did these guys get possession of these?
So it's very easy to spend resources in terms of getting access to systems that normally people wouldn't even think they would have the possibility of access to. All it takes is a little bit of planning and a little bit of manipulation to gain access to something like an email server.
And so this private server that Hillary has been, trying to defend for the last 6, 8, 9, 10 months, apparently that's the one they hit, huh?
Oh, I'm sure it's not the only one they hit, but it's the one of the most contentious, I would say.
What do we know about the Russian hackers, though? Because there's also word that the Democrat National Committee was hit by Russian hackers, and that they were able to grab research, including some opposition research on Donald Trump, out of it.
So the Russian hackers are extremely well versed. They're very technically capable. They have all the kinds of time, and sometimes they even receive state sponsoring, which means that they get resources from the state, being Russia, the Russian Federation, to commit some of these intrusions on behalf of the Russian government, where the Russian government can simply say, we weren't involved, it was a private group.
But so these hackers that we're talking about, as far as the Democratic National Committee is concerned, these were actually affiliated with the Russian government, we think?
My guess is they probably were. Of course, the Russians will probably deny that entirely, and mostly because Russian hackers, for the most part, true Russian hackers are out there for the money. They're out there to gain credit cards, private account, like the Twitter release that was done a couple of days ago. They're out there to make money. And most of that is controlled through organized crime. But if they're targeting something like the Democratic National Committee, then they're out there to gather intelligence.
Yeah.
And the only reason to gather intelligence is so that the Russian government can utilize it to know what's going on in the Americas. Hillary Clinton's a very well-known person. She's been around 30-plus years in politics, but Donald Trump is not. And there's a high level of anticipation as what could happen if he wins the presidency. How is Russia and its allies going to respond if they don't know anything about him?
What's interesting is these are known entities in the hacking world. In fact, I'm going to call it credit, but they gave credit to two hackers, Fancy Bear and Cozy Bear, who they refer to as known perpetrators of cyber espionage. It's as if they know who they are.
Handles on the internet are not only just a calling card, a business card, and a personality. It's all of that wrapped into one with a reputation to go with. In the hacker communities, if you've done something of worthwhile or you've put out an exploit of some significance, you do gain a reputation. And yes, people follow these people.
And so even though you know who they are, and you know what their handle is, it doesn't necessarily mean you know where they are.
Where they are, who actually they are. Mm-hmm. A lot of times people will think that this particular person is, the quintessential person in mom's basement who never gets out, who's 14, when in fact they're 20 and 30 years old, sometimes even female, highly educated, highly technical, and very capable.
All right. Thank you much, Chris Copeland, with some insight into cybersecurity that apparently folks are battling right now in all different fronts with the Russians. Off to traffic. Classic Chevrolet.com right on Traffic Watch. And here is Lauren Houston.
Northbound 70.